You guys have no idea how many times I've restarted this video. Hi, my name is Marcy. Welcome to my channel, Amnicon Studio. If you are a new subscriber, welcome. And if you are a returning friend, welcome back. I'm so glad to see you. I have been gone for about a month. I think I said in my last video that I would aim for 2 weeks. And when I think about that, I think of this, well, one of the memes that floats around on social media about if God wanted me to have 10 chickens, then 20 it is. Because chicken math, if you know, you know. I thought to myself, well, if I said 2 weeks, then a month it is, because that seems to be the schedule that I'm falling on without trying. Why? Life. Little things in life just keeping me busy, getting in the way of my fun. Uh, so I wanted to get that out of the way. I have show notes. And if I accidentally jostle you, I apologize because I'm on a rickety little table here. I've got some completes, some finished projects. I'm sorry. Uh, One project that I've been working on, and one new start, I think it is. I've got things kind of all over the spectrum here this go around. So let me open up my notes and I will be right back. A few things I wanted to say first before getting into the projects is in the last few weeks I've received some shout outs, and I wanted to say thank you to Sarah, the Northwood Stitcher, Patty Penn from Stitching with My Kitties, and Sarah from Sarah's Stitchy Spot. Apparently my chickens that I shared in my last video, my emotional support chickens, Furby Jr. and her boy toy, made quite the impression on some of the videos, on some of the other Flosstubers in the community, and I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who shouted me out. That those are the three I know of, and if there's anybody else out there who shouted me out, please let me know so I can thank them properly. And just for reference, I thought I would share them again. This is Furby Jr., who I made after losing my house hen, Furby. Furby June, actually. Furby June, my house hen, she was attacked by a bird of prey in 2020, and I brought her into the house and rehabbed her, but she was partially blind in one eye and she wasn't able to reintegrate back into the group, my flock. So she was my buddy in the house, and she passed away in 2023. And shortly afterwards, I came across the emotional support chicken, and I decided I had to have one. And then just this year, I made her a boyfriend. And somebody, one of my friends, suggested a name for him, and I cannot for the life of me think of what it was. The original Furby did have a boyfriend. He was a Cornish cross meat bird, and we called him Mega Man for reasons I don't remember now because it's been so long. But he loved Furby, and he always knew when she was outside. He'd just kind of pop up out of nowhere, and she wasn't too thrilled with him. So anyways, those I thought I would share again. And you too can have your own emotional support chicken. I'll drop a link down in the show notes. The website I think was Knitting Tree LA, and I'm sure the pattern is available on Ravelry and Etsy. Okay, the first finished project I wanted to share was my spring vanilla socks. I started these on February 14th, 2025 and finished them on March 27th, 2025. The vanilla pattern is my own, which is 64 stitches, and I'm sure I'm not original in the pattern that I use. Just looking for the bag so I can find the tag. The yarn is made out of, the yarn is from Knit Picks, Felici yarn, Spring Blooms. I have 2 decent balls of yarn left over. I'm not sure what I will do with those. These have not been soaked or blocked yet, but I do have them on the blocker so I can share them. But here they are. And as soon as I can, I'm going to get these soaking and blocked, and then I will be wearing them. That is my first finished project. The next one is Hope Song, and I have a little bit of a tale of woe with that one. Hope Song I started on January 3rd. I finished it March 27th. The pattern is from Heartstring Samplery. And I purchased this from the group on Facebook, the Homespun Needlework Facebook group. Way back when I bought the kit for it. The kit included 16 count Zweigart in the taupe. Obviously called for colors with a little bit of fancy floss thrown in. I feel like I barely touched the floss except for the classic color works in the cherry cobbler and the Tennessee red clay. All right, my tale of woe is that I'm not sure if I can show this without showing it, or maybe I'll just show it and then explain what happened. Okay, it's still in the hoop because I think I'm going to finish it in a hoop. I thought about finishing it on a block of wood that maybe I'll try my hand at wood burning in. I haven't decided yet. But here is, oh, I thought I was prepared. I guess not. This is my finished project. And I'm very pleased with how it turned out. I would definitely stitch this again. And my tale of woe is that, okay, how I started stitching this, I stitched the bird, then I stitched the words, and then I started working on the border about here. And I worked all the way over this way and realized that something wasn't right. Something wasn't lining up with the words. So I went back to the chart and I looked very carefully, and now I am not a big fan of pointing out mistakes in my projects because in the grand scheme you'd never know that there was an issue. But for the sake of this, because I went on, when I realized I had messed up, I went on a bunch of Facebook groups and said, what do I do so I don't have to rip this back? I mean, I was on the ledge. So I discovered over here, I omitted one stitch on a petal. One stitch. And that was enough to throw me off by the time I got down here. So this went in timeout for a few days, and also suggestions were coming in. I got a few good ones too. One lady suggested putting music notes where um, down here where I would omit one of the flowers, and because of it talking about bird songs. A few people suggested just leaving it as is, and a few people suggested extending some of the leaves and the greenery on it, and just leaving it as that. So while I let all that stuff marinate, I came over back to here and started stitching down this way, and then I got to, oh, I just realized I did not finish this flower. So I'm not done yet. How did I miss that? Anyways, so what I did is I stitched this flower, coming in from this way, and I extended the greenery on this one, and I inserted my initials. And it looks like it was supposed to be that way. And I'm very happy with how it turned out. And this evening I will finish that flower. Oh my goodness, I swear. I think my one piece, I did the same thing. I was proudly showing it off and then thought I had messed something up, but that ended up being okay. It was fine. Okay, so that, I guess, will be done today, but I will still consider it complete on March 27th. And let's see, my current works in progress, which I haven't touched for a few weeks, is my One Stitch at a Time. That is a stitch along in the, it is a stitch in the Across the Pond Stitch and Chat group on Facebook. I can never remember the name of that group for whatever reason. It's a nice group. It's very pleasant. So, One Stitch at a Time. The stitch along started January 10th. It's going for, well, through the end of the year, but there's like 2 months that are free months that you can use to either catch up or just go through. A few people already have this done, and they are my heroes. So I started on January 10th. I'm using the DMC conversion. Fabric is Charles Craft DMC in the tea-dyed colorway, 28 count linen. I purchased the chart through 123 Stitch. And I am working the left side first because it fits right in the Q-snap, and I don't want to have to move the Q-snap until I have to. And here is my progress so far. I'll be working on this later this week in the evenings. And I have one new start. It is my Bedelia bunny that I'm doing a stitch along with Kenzie of Mud Puppy Stitchery. And if you don't know, Kenzie has some new charts on her Etsy shop. If you search Mud Puppy Stitchery, or I will also have a link down in the show notes. I started this one March 1st. Bedelia Bunny is by the Artsy Housewife. I purchased the chart at 123 Stitch. I am using the called for DMC colors except for 2. I changed the color of the bunny from, I don't remember the floss color, but I changed it to 03, a gray color, so it'll match the color of my bun Pfeffer, who is an old man, and I love him very much. I also ended up changing out the color here. That color, I think, was 3771. Yep, 3771. Turns out I didn't have it when I pulled my floss. So I substituted the Classic Color Works Blackbird for the eye and for any of these colors. Sorry, I only had one clothespin. I don't know how many stitches I have on that. The fabric is Hobby Lobby Lugana in the ivory colorway, 28 count. It was stash fabric, so I wouldn't have to purchase any more. And if you would like to participate in the stitch along, feel free to do so and join us. And friend me on Instagram so I can see what you're doing. I do have a private Instagram. I decided to do that because too many of the spammers and the icky bots were trying to friend me, and you know, I get tired of seeing the accounts that are popping up. It's getting old. So that was my new start. New starts and completions. I forgot to grab one, so I will be right back. All right, I've got it. Last episode, I mentioned wanting to make a crochet octopus. There is a pattern I follow pretty religiously. That's on mynomadhome.com. It's a pattern for people who want to make the crochet octopuses and donate them to the NICUs for the babies, for something for them to grab on. There's a whole more other story to it, but if I could crochet these to the specifications that the Facebook group and the organization wants, I would make these a lot more frequently, but I cannot make these as tight as they want, which is tight enough that you can't put a lollipop stick through the stitches, and then they want you to use cotton as well, and cotton is just murder on my hands for when I crochet. So every once in a while, when I get the hankering to want to crochet something quick, I stitch these up, and they eventually end up finding a home, whether somebody thinks they're really cute and would like to have it, or someone I know has a baby, and I think it's a pretty great gift to give someone who just has a baby, because it's you know, it takes me no time at all to crochet them up, and it's something that every baby that I've given one of these to, they've hung on to for a really long time, and if they get dirty, they can get thrown in the wash, and mom doesn't have to worry about potentially wrecking anything. So after that preamble, here is my crochet octopus. The curlicue tentacles are really fun to make. Basically chain 50 and then put 2 single crochet in each one as you go back up. I hand stitch all the faces since they are going to babies. So my faces are not perfect, but I think that's a big part of the charm for them. And the yarn I used was Hobby Lobby. I love this yarn in the Cinnamon Cedar colorway. If you recognize the colorway, it was the same yarn that I used to make a sweater last year, Tin Can Knits. I cannot think of the name of that sweater pattern, but it's from their Simple collection. So it's a free pattern. And that turned out really cute. And when I finished this, I thought this would be a really good colorway for an emotional support chicken. And I'm pretty sure I still have a skein of this yarn in stash, so I may make one very soon with this yarn. Stay tuned. Oh, and then I used the crochet hook 3.75 for this. If I didn't say, I started it March 4th and I completed it March 7th. And then the one that I just completed, and I kind of teased a little bit over the weekend on my Instagram, social media, is something that I've been wanting to make for a while. I've had yarn probably longer than I care to admit, but everything was all ready to go. So when I decided it was time to make it, I had everything. This past weekend we had some snow happen, some snow action. And since we couldn't do anything outside and work on the wood project or do anything, I decided to pull out the crochet and make myself a little amigurumi. And I do not have the picture for the pattern, so I'll put that up wherever. But I kind of want to draw this out a little bit because it's so cute. And, and when I said, does anybody want to guess what it is? And I had all kinds of guesses and nobody was right. And I thought for sure some of the people closest to me would guess it. And I think the one that I thought for sure who would guess it, I think she guessed either a wombat or a koala. No, I made a little baby amigurumi porcupine. Isn't he cute? And I've got, well, if I think about it, I'll post a few in progress photos on there. But yeah, I started him Sunday. I finished him last night. The yarn I used was Lion Brand Heartland. Where is the bag? This is my first time. Sorry, I just realized what I was doing. I decided to get fancy and buy myself a little microphone to help with the ambient noises. So I'm actually really hoping that this works. If not, because I'd hate to have to re-record this, but I've got fan going, I've got the wood stove right over there, and then any other noises that might happen. I thought a microphone might help cut that down. Also, if I make any videos outside, I thought that would help with the noise from the wind. Sorry. Anyway, I apologize because the microphone was right where I opened that bag, so I'm sorry for that. So it was the first time my using the Lion Brand Heartland yarn. It is the recommended yarn for this project, and being that I like the finished project so much, I wanted to go exactly with what was recommended. Maybe in the future I'll go with some fun colors. I haven't decided yet. But here is the lighter color, which is, I think, Grand Canyon. And then here's the color that I did the main body of the porcupine with. I don't know, can you picture one of these in a fun, funky color? I don't know. But I just thought the way it looked, it was so stinking cute that I wanted to stick with what the designer had. The pattern came from an Etsy shop. I'll have to link to it because I do not remember the name of it because it has been so long since I purchased this pattern. Trying to think if there's anything else. The crochet hook I used was 3.75 millimeters. I think it's a size F5. I think where I was going originally with this was that I really like the feel of this yarn. It's an acrylic yarn. It's very soft. And I could see a sweater being made out of this. It's really nice. Yeah. Oh, and then I've got a little bit of a funny story to go with the porcupine. One second. All right. I had a friend already ask me, were the quills hard to do? And I said no. They took forever to create and attach, but making them look like this was not that hard. The quills, you're supposed to cut 7-inch lengths of the yarn and then use the crochet to hook onto the body. And then the instructions said to use either a amigurumi brush or a slicker brush and brush the yarn until the plies broke and made the funky quills. And I could probably still do more brushing, but I'm happy with how it looks. Anyways, I was telling my husband about this morning and said, yeah, when I was using the slicker brush, I managed to poke myself really good. There we are. And that's Buzz from just touching the porcupine now. Oh man, he's wild. I stuck myself making quills for an amigurumi porcupine, and my husband started laughing, and I realized what it was that I had done. I shouldn't have hurt myself, but I managed to hurt myself. So yeah, good times. What do I have now? I am hoping I get through this pretty quickly because I'm on my lunch hour. And I just realized I haven't touched my coffee, so it's probably ice cold. Almost there. I do have a little tiny bit of haul. I got, where am I? Oh, well, I mentioned earlier that Kenzie of Mud Puppy Stitchery released some new charts in March. One of them was a snapping turtle, and I saw it and I fell in love with it because I love turtles. I think turtles are great. So I got that. Just need to pull thread for it or floss for it. I actually am not sure when I will start that. And then on not the most recent episode of Sarah's Stitchy Spot, I think the one before that, she was sharing a chart that was made for her by either a friend or a viewer. I don't remember which. And it has her, one of the things that she's famous for, which is never admire quietly. And I am a firm believer in that if somebody does something, or like, how to put it, like if someone does a nice thing, or if there's something that you appreciate about them, let them know, because there is so much negativity in this world. And we need to be more supportive of each other. And, you know, if somebody has something good going or they did something that you appreciate, let them know. So I contacted Sarah and requested that chart, and she was very kind enough to send it to me. And I say, anybody else who has interest in that chart, she said to contact her, send her an email, and she will gladly send it to you. And then there's one other little thing that I never thought that I would get, but somebody in one of the videos I watched, and honestly, I don't remember who it was. And somebody that I watch, and they must be a knitter or a crocheter. They went on about one of these new purchases they got and thought it was very nice to have. I was at Hobby Lobby a few weeks back, just kind of browsing, and I happened to see it, and I thought, well, I'm not going to say how much it was, but it was really cheap. And I thought, for that price, I'll give it a try. And it is really handy. It's a row counter that you stick on your finger. That way, when you're stitching, when you finish your row, you can just hit the button. And then this one's the reset. I am a big fan of row counters. I would not dare try to keep track of rows just by memory. I mean, and in the past, I've had several row counters going depending on the project. If I need to keep track of how many rows, and then in between, you know, how many rows you're decreasing. So if you need to knit, you know, 10 rows, let's see, knit 9 rows, 10th row is an increase or decrease. So I'm keeping track of the rows on the one, and then the number of decreases or increases with the other. I mean, I had to do that for this pattern, for this cardigan that I'm wearing. Yeah, that was an adventure. So yeah, it was under $5. Yeah, it's a really useful gadget that I did not know that I would really like. So that is it for the crafting stuff, which I seem to have blown through. I guess I'll know once I actually start editing the video. Uh, truth be told, when people started shouting me out, I was like, first, I was stunned. And then I thought, I better get something out there so nobody thinks that I'm like gone. Yeah. Because I've said in previous videos, I've got some health crap going on, and I'm still working towards that. The big question is not answered yet, but I'm doing things to help my body feel better. In some of the other YouTuber channels I've been watching, they've been sharing what they've been reading. Apparently, I don't follow any trends whatsoever because the most recent Suzanne Collins Hunger Games book came out. I had no idea it was coming out. People are reading it. I think one of my friends posted a photo of the book and showing that she was done with it and that she was not okay. So I can only imagine how that ended. And then just a month ago, I don't know the name of the book. I think the author's first name is Rachel. It might have something to do with dragon riding colleges. I don't know. Um, People are going mad for that, reading it. My friend Leann over at Forbidden Fiberco, she has a cross-stitch mystery kit Sal going on in her group, and I've been seeing other YouTubers, Flosstubers, sharing their progress either on their channel or in her group, and it looked like a fun one, to be honest. But I don't know anything about the book series. I guess yeah. TV shows. A few people have been sharing what they've been watching on TV. I am not watching anything new. I have decided TV was better. TV from the past is better. I think the only, actually, no, I take that back a little bit. The only current thing I'm watching is Naked and Afraid. I am a big fan of Naked and Afraid. TV, but when I don't see that and I'm not watching YouTube either by myself or with my husband, because we watch a variety of YouTube channels together. So if you're interested in like cars, buying old cars and fixing them up, I know a few channels. We watch some van life channels, and I think maybe 2 gaming channels. But TV, when I'm by myself, when I have the time, I have been watching Smallville. I never watched it when it first went around through the first time. I think that was when kind of like that. Actually, I don't remember when it first started, but it was when my son was young, so I was watching a lot of SpongeBob and Nick Jr. TV shows. And at the time, this sounds so silly to say, but we only had one TV. So it was, just watched whatever that we could watch together as a family. So I never saw Smallville. I know while way back when I started watching Felicity. I'm not done with that. But I'd have to say that is a pretty apt portrayal of life for a teenager, college goer at that time. It's kind of nice to see teenagers actually living life and they're not like constantly on their phone or scrolling on the internet. Another one that I didn't watch when it first came around, but I'm watching it now, is Castle, with the main guy from Firefly, which I feel Firefly was done wrong, and I'm still bitter about it. And then I started rewatching the Father Brown series. I'm working my way up to the new series, which I'm sure Sister Boniface won't be too far behind. So that is what I've been watching. Smallville, I started out really enjoying, and now that the character, I think I'm in season 5. Spoiler alert. And I knew this was coming, but I wasn't ready. Superman's dad died, and I was so shocked that I cried. And even thinking about it now, I'm like, I'm not okay with that. I can't believe they did that. But yeah, so the characters are getting a little more complex. Lex Luthor's getting a little more dark. Lana, I've learned I'm not the only one thinking this. Lana is getting on my nerves. So I'm actually taking a little break from Smallville right now because she annoyed me. So yeah. I want to end this one with some other YouTube channels that I've been watching and have enjoyed. The Homespun Needlework group, 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe further along, did a post where it said, if you have a Flosstube channel, drop a link to it here. And I took advantage of it because I see the same channels over and over again in my recommendations. YouTube has got itself, or has me locked tight in certain algorithms and is not showing me anything else. So this has been a good thing because it's showing me new suggestions finally. But in the meantime, I'm slowly working through this list of new floss tubers, and a few that I want to share. Some of them I've been watching for a while already, and a few are new. I already mentioned Kenzie over at Mud Puppy Stitchery. I've been watching her almost since the beginning of her channel, and I really like what she puts out. I like the projects she's working on. The designs she has are very me. I like them, and I can see myself stitching up all of them. She's very nature oriented, and she has this, I think she calls it a wildlife minute, where she takes the time to discuss one specific animal. More recently, I think, was the American robin. One time she shared about the woodpeckers, and I love woodpeckers. I don't know if that is being picked up on the microphone, but my clock just went off, and I think it's one of those old clocks that has all the different bird songs on it, and it was my mother-in-law's from way back when. So it's the original one. So it's got the original bird calls on it. Anyways, black-capped chickadee just went off. One of the new ones to me is Janet Jabber. I love her energy, and her animals crack me up. She is she's doing a countdown till retirement, so that makes me laugh too. Ashley and Jan at We Stitch and We Know Things, they are a fun mom and daughter duo. Ashley is dipping her toes in the design business. She doesn't have anything out yet. She just announced this, and I'm pretty excited to see what she will be putting out. Laura, Stitching by the Shore, she's very nice to listen to. She has a lot of beautiful projects she's working on. She has a lot of different things going on, and I like how she puts her a lot of her finishes in scrapbooking. Since we can't display all of our pieces, we can't have all the books, or not books, pillow finishes and all that, and she doesn't want to just leave them in a drawer. So she's doing a little something with her finished pieces on a scrapbook page, and she puts different elements on them and stuff, and they turn out very nice. Debra, the Bay State Stitcher, I had to think for a moment actually about where the Bay State is, because her accent caught my ear, and I was trying to place it. So I'm still somewhere on the East Coast. I don't know, Massachusetts. but she has got beautiful projects going on. She does a lot of samplers, Quaker styles, just really beautiful pieces. And she's got less than 50 subscribers, and I think she should have more, because she has beautiful work that should be seen. Granted, we all do, but I feel very strongly about this. She needs more subscribers. She is also having some YouTube issues that I tried to help her with. I don't know if she was able to figure it out, but YouTube is letting her it's not letting her load longer YouTube videos. I think the max they're giving her is 15 minutes. So if you know how to help her with that, please go and leave a comment on her page. And while you're there, subscribe. Linda and Susie at Yarn Over with Us. Now this, I think I might have mentioned them before. They are a knitting podcast. However, they are so wonderful to listen to. It's casual conversation interspersed with their yarn projects. They have, I think, yarn circles where they're encourage subscribers or viewers to send in photos of finished projects and they share them with the rest of us. And I mean, it's such a well done video series. I'm not even sure how to call it, but whoever does their editing does a very nice job. And they should, it's another one, I feel they should have a lot more subscribers than what they do. The algorithms need to make them go viral. And it's just, I mean, I sit and watch them with my husband and he like picks up on stuff here and there. I mean, they have a lot of interesting things to say. They are into natural health as well, and making sure that you take proper care of your body because you only have the one body. And yeah, so I guess that is it. I am hoping to get this edited quick and uploaded the turnover fairly soon. So it just occurred to me, I know a lot of the other Flosstube channels, they have a question for people to answer in the comments. And I've never been able to think of anything really clever that would start up a conversation and engage people. But it just dawned on me, what should we name this guy or girl? We don't know. We don't know yet. So if you have a name suggestion, please feel free to leave it in a comment below. And I will share that next video. Bye. Guys, we're too late.